What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are making our own flasher here for the third brake light on my Mazda CX-50. I've seen the ones they sell online. They're about $31 plus shipping and whatnot from overseas. And honestly, we've done flashers before. We did Brian's D21 and we're pretty sure we can do this for a lot less money than that. I already have an expensive bill going on with the Mazda, so as much money as we can save on the other things, that will be great. So I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be using today. Is really simple. You really only need a module, which is this right here, and you can pick this one up from Amazon for super cheap. So I'll link you guys down in the bottom so you guys can grab one. And then we're going to be popping out the covers here and showing you where we need to plug into. So let's get to it. And this is really all you need to make your third light kind of flash, have that F1 style look to it. You can splice this basically into what's already in the car, into the stock wiring, and it'll work right off the bat, so you don't have to worry about too much. But we want to go with a kind of a plug-and-play solution so we're not splicing into it, and that's where this comes into play. This is the exact connectors that the CX-50 has, and I'll show you here in a little bit. But unfortunately, the bad news that I have is that the people that I bought this from, they were on AliExpress, they're no longer posted. They don't have this listing anymore. They don't have this plug anymore for some reason. But you can see the part numbers that I got from there here. And I'll also write down in the description the part numbers that I had found initially online, which is a little bit different. So that way you guys can look it up if you want to find and go this way with your DIY solution. So that way you don't have to splice into the factory harness. Just a tip out there. Again, it's just very unfortunate. I can't link you to this exact posting that I got it from. For some reason, they just disappeared from AliExpress. But let me jump over to the car and get that cover removed so I can show you guys. So here inside of the CX-50, we're just gonna go ahead and remove this cover. And all you need to do really is just kind of get your hands in there and start popping it out. It's gonna sound pretty bad, and there is some clips back there that potentially could break or fall off, as you can see that. But it should be pretty forgiving, especially if it's a new car like mine. If it's a little bit older, if you got the 23, you might be a little bit more careful with it. But you can see it all came off. It's all good. We are good. And this is the plug that we're gonna be working with. That one is what controls our third brake light. So we are gonna go ahead and take this out. And you can see we're gonna bring in the other harness here real quick just so I can show you that everything just plugs into it. So again, this is our little plug that we got. So if we put this in here, this basically pops right into place. Let me see if I can do it one hand. It's kind of tough, but you can see, there you go. This clicks right into there, and this would click right over here. So now we have a loop. Now we have a harness that we can tap our new module into it, and then that way we don't have to cut anything in here. But if you did need it to cut anything in here, if you didn't have this harness to kind of make this plug and play, all you really need to do is kind of peel this back and then tap into those wires, and you would get all nice and done. You can kind of see we have a black one here. Let me see if I can zoom in here. There you go. So that black cable there and a white one, black cable is going to be your ground, white one is going to be your power. So we're going to make sure we follow that into this. We're going to cut this in half and add our module in place. Let's do it. All right, guys, so I have my cables here laid out. I already cut my harness here, and we are gonna attach this to our control module. And we need to make sure that you have the big, if you do have the harness, you have the big kind of plug in the out position, and then the small one on the in, otherwise it's not gonna work. So I shortened the cables here on the control module itself, a little bit on this one too. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use some of these things to connect both harnesses. This just lets you crimp it and then use a heat gun to kind of heat shrink here so it will be waterproof. It's a good alternative to soldering if you don't know how to solder. Otherwise you can just go some soldering and some heat shrink. It'll work the same way, but this just makes it super easy for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach this in here and get it ready to put in the car. And here is the harness and controller all nice and done. Now we have our harness integrated to the controller. We use everything to make sure the ground will stay with the ground according to the marks that we did. Again, based on the black cable that is on the connector right now. Just make sure you have the big connector on the out position, the small one on the inside here. And then if you wanted to get fancy with it, you can buy some of that wrapping, cable wrapping that they sell, so you can kind of cover this whole area. Or just use some black electrical tape and cover it all up, and it's gonna look probably about the same, since you're not gonna be seeing that anyways. This did come with a little double-sided sticky pad that we are gonna use. We're gonna put it in there and then try to attach it somewhere inside of the car. So let's move over there so we can see how it's gonna look now that it's in there. Check it out, guys. So this is where I put the controller. I put it with the double-sided 3M tape here, and then we did wrap the cables here with some electrical tape just to make it look a little bit cleaner, a little bit more OEM. That's how a lot of these other cables look like they are, so it just matches in there. It's going to be out of the way, nothing's going to be blocking our panel here to be able to attach to where it goes. So we are pretty much done here. Everything looks good. We're going to put just our plastic cover back in place and pretty much call it a day. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you how it looks right now. This is obviously the factory. It just comes on. Nothing else to it. I know we're a little close up here. I'm working with the small garage that I have, but yeah, nothing happens, just comes on. Now we're gonna put the controller on and see how it looks. All right, guys, now that we have the controller in place, now we're gonna see that when we press on the brake, we're gonna have 3 quick flashes, 3 slower flashes, and then eventually it's just gonna stay solid. So exact same thing you will get with the Mike Store ones, but about 1/3 of the price. I think, like I said, all in on this, I spent about $10. If you've managed to find that little extra hardness, could be a few dollars more or less. Or if you guys just go with the controller, which you can splice into the harness, then it will be, you know, potentially less than $10, because I've seen some of those that are a pack of 2 for $5 or $6, $7. So there you have it, guys. We did our own controller in here, our own little setup here. Save about $20 probably, or a little bit more than that. At least I did, since I got some of these things very cheap. I'll link you guys on the bottom and put the part numbers for the harness. Again, I'm sorry I can't link you to that specific harness I bought. I wish I could. It's just gone. It disappeared from AliExpress, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, you guys could have picked it up and done all of this for literally less than $10. But I will link to some controllers down so you can splice it if you want to into the harness that's already there. It'll work the same way. Everything will flash the same way. Just you got to make sure you put in the right spot, right where the in goes and the out goes, and then make sure you have your ground and power cable correctly, and you should be all good to go. But yeah, happy with the result. I think it's gonna look pretty good, nice on the road. I know some people are not big fans of it, but I like it. I like the flash, and I had them on a lot of my other vehicles, and it's nice to add it here to the CX-50. So that's really all I have, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you liked the video. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Hopefully we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.